Hello, Internet. It is I, the Malik Aaron, and welcome back to Box Office Recaps. So, April 2024, how was it? Ooh, let me tell you, it was so damn boring. I can barely put into words. It was so miserable. Nothing exciting happened. There were no strong breakout hits. I mean, I guess there was one, but I wouldn't call it like a big old breakout hit. It just did solid. It didn't do exceptional or anything. Nothing did exceptional. And there's just a lot of movies that just existed, and I never like that. I want movies to at least have a pulse, and there was barely a pulse at the box office in April. So yeah, let's get this month over with. So as usual, I'm going to be comparing my own personal predictions to what actually happened because I find that to be interesting and fun. So let's get started. So we start with April 5th. We start with The First Omen, which was a prequel to The Omen, a movie that came out in the 70s. Um, I predicted an opening weekend of like 7 to 9 million, I think. Yeah, I think around that. And a final total of like 20 to 30 million. And the thing is that I was kind of thinking maybe this has a shot of breaking out a little bit, at least overperforming a tad, because reviews were way better than I would have expected, and I thought that would lead to it overperforming a little bit, but nope, nope, nope. Almost 8 million, 8.3 million, only made like 19, just under 20 million, and yeah, it's pretty much gone from theaters. So yeah, I couldn't even make 20 million domestically. That's just sad. That's pitiful for a movie like this. And I guess this really shows that the exorcism genre is just it's pretty much flatlined at this point in the marketplace. Like people just don't care about exorcism movies anymore. People don't they just don't care. And it doesn't help that like it's the problem the first Omen had is the same problem Doctor Sleep had back in 2019, where that movie was like a sequel to The Shining, a movie that came out in 1980. That's like a damn near 40-year gap. Okay, and for franchises, like you cannot wait that long. Like you really can't, especially if it's something that's not that wouldn't appeal to like a younger crowd today. Like people who are like in their 20s or 30s, they're not going to care about The Omen. They probably don't even know what it is. They don't care about it. I certainly don't care about it. So you're basically relying on people. You're relying on senior citizens to care, and that's not a good thing. It really isn't. And that's why Doctor Sleep underperformed as badly as it did, and that's the reason why the first Omen underperformed as bad as it did. It did do better overseas, but not enough for it to. Well, I don't know how much the budget was for this. It doesn't say it here. I can't imagine it was super expensive, but I'm about to find out off screen in a few seconds. Okay, it costs like 30 million, so that this is not good at all. So yeah, I'm a little sad that it underperformed, but I'm not surprised. I'm really not. So, first Omen was a true bust. And now we have Monkey Man. This makes me sad. It really does because I did watch this movie. I watched it in theaters. I supported it. I thought it was really good. And before it released, like I thought it really had a chance to break out. I really did, even way more than First Omen because this didn't have the same problems as First Omen. This wasn't like a franchise flick or anything. Like this is a movie that was supposed to be a Netflix movie, but then Jordan Peele took a look at it and were like, no, this deserves better than Netflix. We should put it on the big screen. And so some deals were made, and it was distributed by Universal and produced by got a Monkey Paw Productions credit. Yeah, yeah, Monkey Paw Pictures credit, and it got the actual release date. And there was like a decent a little bit of hype before it opened. I think it opened like at South by Southwest. I think I'm pretty sure it did. And usually when you do that, that's a sign that you're very confident in your movie because that's what A Quiet Place did. That's what no, Quiet Place. Baby Driver did the same thing. So it could be a way to get like some advanced buzz going. Yeah, it was by Southwest, but it just I don't know, that hype just it kind of just stayed on the internet. That hype did not translate into ticket sales, really, because I predicted an opening weekend of like 10 million and a final total of like 20 to 30, 25 to 30, something like that. It hit 10 million, hit 25 million, so it hit my predictions, but I didn't want it to. I wanted to do better. I wanted to exceed my expectations, not match them. And grant the movie only cost like 10 million, so 34 million on a 10 million budget. That's not bad, but I felt they should have done better in my eyes. Like I think it deserved better. It was kind of just overlooked, and who knows? Maybe it'll find a bigger audience on like streaming. I imagine that's probably what's gonna happen. But yeah, the fact that it didn't do better, the fact that it just kind of did moderate, it saddens me. But here's hoping it finds a bigger audience later down the line, because it is a really good movie. I highly recommend it. So that was April 5th. April 12th, all the way down here. There was 6 movies opening, which is never fun. Never. So let's go through these very quickly. I don't have much to say about a majority of these. Arcadian, Nicolas Cage movie. I projected an opening weekend of like 500K to a million. Opening weekend, no, no, final total of like less than two. It hit 500K. It only made 828K. Like it appeared and disappeared real quick. So yeah, nothing. I have nothing to say about that. Civil War. I do have quite a bit to say about this because I actually saw this movie. It intrigued me, and I watched it, and I thought it was quite good. Some people it may or may not ruffle a couple feathers, but I don't think it's like super duper like controversial. It doesn't like make any like grand statements that would cause outrage or anything. At least I didn't think so. Um, but I thought it was really good, really interesting. And of all the April movies, this definitely had the most momentum. It had the most buzz, had the most everything. And A24, they swung for the fences for this one. I mean, they this was not like a cheap little movie because historically A24 is known for releasing like very inexpensive flicks. Civil War is the most expensive, 50 million. That's like I mean, granted, that's like low for like a big studio like a Disney or Warner Brothers or Sony, but for A24, that's massive. Okay, so they were betting hard on this, and this didn't even have like a limited release either. Like to start off, it went straight to wide. Like they were literally go big or go home with this, and it worked out. I would say it because I predicted an open weekend of like 20 to 25 million, a final total of 60 million. It opened with over 25 million, and I was like, wow, that's really impressive. And it's final. Well, it's not final. It's still in theaters, but so far it's made 65 million, so it surpassed my final expectations. So that's good. It's made over 100 million worldwide. It's not amazing compared to its budget, but I imagine it'll make its money back when it hits PVOD and everything. Then it'll be in the black. But yeah, so I definitely call this a success story for A24. They wanted to make a bigger movie. and they wanted to release a big movie. They wanted to sell a bigger movie, and it all worked out. Although there was some controversy, not really relating to the movie itself, but its advertising. How A24 used some AI to do some of the advertising because people noticed a lot of stuff. The advertising felt very off. There's stuff that was just never in the movie at all. So that was a whole thing. But I thought that didn't really hurt the movie very much, box office wise. It was just kind of a thing that a bit of a blemish on the movie, but it didn't hurt it in the long run. But yeah, Civil War, solid flick, and I'm glad something in April did well. I'm glad something broke out because if nothing broke out, then it would be the probably the worst month I've ever talked about on this channel. Well, that's not true. I've dealt with worse months, even more depressing months, but like I don't like talking about months that's just nonstop negativity. I don't like that. So I'm glad this April wasn't 100% negative. It was more like 90% negative, and this was like the 10% that was not negative. So at least I have something positive to talk about. And then the rest of these, don't tell mom the babysitter's dead. I don't even know why I made a prediction video for this because really box office numbers never came out for this. Never. I saw nothing. Although maybe it's not on here, maybe it's somewhere else, like another site. I'm about to find out. Is there anything? Anything? No. Okay, there's just no numbers anywhere. I predicted like an opening weekend of like 500K to a million and final total of 2 million. No point mentioning anything now because no numbers exist. So let's move on. Then we got the long game where I predicted an opening weekend of like again 500K to a million, less than 2 million total. But this did a little better than I expected. But is that really an accomplishment? I don't think it. I really don't think it is. But it opened with like 1.3 million and it made like 3 million. It was very front loaded. It just died. It's gone now. But yeah, it could have been worse. But these numbers are so small that it really doesn't matter. So yeah, let's keep on going. Shrek 2. Okay. So Shrek 2, the 20th anniversary re-release. I predicted opening weekend, I believe like 1 million, final total like 2 to 3 or 4, something like that. And it opened with 1.4 million. And I guess it's if you add the numbers up, I guess it's like I don't know. It added about like 2 or so, 3 or so million, about 3 million added to its final total. Which I mean, considering this movie's been like widely been seen like through like various um ways, was this on VHS? Maybe. VHS was it was barely alive at that point. Maybe it was on VHS. On DVD, I know it was on DVD. I think I'm pretty sure everyone and their mom has the DVD. It was on VHS. Okay, I was right. So there's like VHS, DVD, 4K. Was it on 4? I don't even think it was on 4K, but Blu-ray, TV, streaming anyway. So the fact that people still watched this movie in theaters shows you that how big Shrek is and how important Shrek is, and all I want to know is where the hell is Shrek 5? Where is it? The world wants it. The world demands it to exist, but DreamWorks just wants to just not get to it. They just want to release other stuff. Like Kung Fu Panda 4, and I'm just like, come on, DreamWorks. You know what we all want. Get it done. Please. I mean, trust me, you will make all the money if you got it done. Because Shrek 2, that was the peak of DreamWorks. That was the peak of their box office power. It never got that good ever again. That is a cold, hard fact. But anywho, Sting. Let's talk about that real quick. I prediction was like 500K to a million, less than 2 million total. Open like 825K, 1.1 million total. What happened? Oh goddamn! It was a 1 week only movie basically because it just died immediately. 92%, 96%, and it was in three theaters the first week of May. That is something. Um, yeah, not nothing else to say here. So let's move on to April 19th. More movies. Another movie that I don't even know why I made a video for it in the first place. Because for this one, like I had a strong feeling I wasn't going that there's gonna be no numbers coming out. I thought for sure Don't Tell Mom the Babysitters. I thought that would have numbers, but it didn't. But Wildfire, I knew damn well I wasn't gonna get any numbers from that, but I made the video anyway, mainly out of just uh stubbornness. But anyway, let's talk about the other movies before we get to that one. Abigail. Okay. This was another movie I thought would do better in a way because it had like really strong reviews going into it, and it was like pretty different compared to like other horror movies that were out there. I thought the premise was interesting. I didn't see it. I thought about it, but I was like, nah, I don't think so. I just didn't want. Why? It's not. I didn't want to. I just it just didn't happen. I was just like, yeah, I'll probably just wait till it hits like Peacock or something. But I still thought it would do like better than like a 10 million opening weekend and a 25 million total so far. I mean, I did predict 10 to 12 million, like I think 30 million total. It won't reach 30 million. That won't happen. I mean, its legs have been all right, but it's like in like a few weeks it's going to be gone completely. So it's made like 37 million worldwide. How much did this cost? This has to be cheap. If it wasn't cheap, then this movie is fucked. How much was it? Da, da, da. 28 million. Oof. Yikes. Eek. This movie's a flop, which is sad because again, um this movie had a pretty good reception and I thought it would do something. I thought it would break out a little. Nope. So in terms of like breakouts, like the four the well there was like five movies I thought had a chance to break out. Only one of them really did. Two kind of, but not really. The other three were just non-starters for the most part. And Abigail is part of the non-starter group. And you know what's hilarious? Is that Abigail has made less money than the 50 million that was like on the line for the criminals to keep Abigail, like just like kidnap her and keep her overnight, which I think is really funny. But yeah, I thought this would do better. I'll probably watch it when it hits like Peacock and support it that way. But yeah, I thought it had a chance, and it just didn't happen. And another movie I wasn't confident in its chances at all was The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. I predicted an opening weekend of like 10 to 11 million, a final total of like 20, 25 million, maybe 30, some open of 8.9 million. It's made like less than 20 so far. It's pretty much just gone at this point. It's having some pretty steep drops, 57, 58, 57. It's going to be gone real soon. And I'm just like, what happened here? I mean, theoretically, this should have done better. I mean, Guy Ritchie, I mean, I know most of his movies don't do amazing, but he has a pretty loyal following, and the cast here is pretty good. I mean, you got Henry Cavill, you got Alan Richson. You got some like two very notable names there. I mean, you got Superman, the former Superman, and you got Reacher. And I thought maybe this could do something, but the more I thought about it, the more I'm like, yeah, I don't think this is gonna do good. It's just the fact that Guy Ritchie, that he's been just at the box office, he's just been um just striking out. Like it's been bad. And there's also the fact that this movie, I don't know if it was intentional or not, but it kind of looked like a ripoff of Inglorious Bastards. It had very Inglorious Bastards energy to it, to the point where people probably thought it was a knockoff or something, and you don't want that. So part of the reason why John Carter failed as hard as it did, because people thought it would just look like a ripoff of Star Wars and Avatar when it technically wasn't. But if the public sees it as a certain way, that's how they're gonna see it. So yeah, and the fact that the marketing, really a lot of these movies marketing, they really dropped the ball. Like there's just no one wanted to spend big money on ad campaigns, so they just kind of threw them out there with like a couple ads here and there and just called it a day. And yeah, I'm pretty sure this movie cost like 50 million, something like that. I will check really quickly. Ministry of Gentleman War. What's the budget? Give it to me. 60 million. Oof, this movie's a disaster. um yeah. Yeah. Oof. But I don't know. I mean, this could find an audience later on down the line, but I don't think it's that good to get a huge audience, on like streaming and whatnot. But yeah, I don't know. I wasn't expecting too much out of this, and it just didn't perform. It just completely flopped. So yeah. And then oh wait, not Spy Cross Family Code White, Sasquatch Sunset. I predicted an opening weekend, I think like 500K to a million, and a final total of like 1.5 million or so. It hit 473K, so I was close, and then it just collapsed completely, just died completely after that. Only made $1 million, which I'm not super shocked about because of the content of the movie. People are like hella grossed out because of it, and it made me very curious, like what the hell was in this movie. And apparently, according to the audience reviews I read while making the video on this, um, there was apparently some I forgot, was it Sasquatch balls? Yeah, some Sasquatch balls. I knew it had to be something like nudity based or sexual based to gross people out, but like Sasquatch balls, I'm like, yeah, that sounds about right. So some people didn't like that. Obviously, I don't know anyone who would, and if you do, then I don't know what to tell you. um, but yeah, but like the gross out nature of this, there's like this part of me that wants to watch the movie just to see how nasty it is, but at the same time I'm trying to there's another part of me that's telling myself, stop, don't do it, you will regret it. Those two parts are kind of fighting with each other. Kind of the same how I feel about Babylon, how that movie had some absolutely vile, disgusting moments in it that would obviously turn people away, but there's a part of me that kind of wants to see it, and it's just, I don't know. With Sasquatch Sons, I don't know. But yeah, no one really watched it, and only got like a little bit of publicity because of how disgusting it was. So yeah. Next up is Spy Across Family Code White. I predicted an opening weekend of like 5 million. Final total, I think it was like 10 to 15, but I knew it was gonna make less than 10. I wanted to be optimistic, and it only made like 4.8 million opening weekend. It's made like 8 million so far. It's gone. It like a typical anime movie. It's there one week and then it just evaporates the next, and that audience never comes back. So yeah, I'm not super surprised by that, but I thought it would do a little bit better because like Spy Cross Family, like I've heard of it. I know it has a a following. I don't think it's as big as say a My Hero Academia or a One Piece or a Dragon Ball or anything like that, or definitely not a Demon Slayer. But I thought it would at least do a little better. I thought it would make like double digits in the states, but nope, didn't happen. It did better internationally. So really, the domestic release, that was just gravy for it. But yeah, I thought it would do better. I thought it would overperform more because anime movies have done really well in the past few years, and this just didn't really do that. So yeah. And then last but not least, Wildfire, The Legend of the Cherokee Ghost Horse. I made a prediction video for this. I think like 250K opening weekend, 500K total. That was a complete waste of time. I don't know why I made that video. I knew without a doubt, there was no doubt in my mind that I tried looking up like theaters it was playing at on Fandango, showed nothing, nothing at all. So that was a big old red flag. And yeah, no numbers ever released. So just what was the point of making that video? um I mean, just look at this. Does this look like a theatrical release to you? The answer is no, obviously. Is this like a direct to DVD movie? Like, it does it? Let me look at that. It looks, you can plop that on a DVD and you can like see it like at a, like in the bargain bin at Walmart, and you'd be like, yep, yep, that's a bargain bin movie right there. And yeah, I don't, yeah, this is a, that, I don't have anything else to say about Wildfire. Like, it basically tricked me into making a prediction video for it. And now we're on to April 26th. And actually, before we get to those movies, I want to mention that uh, in the month of April, Sony, I guess maybe because they were bored and they won a couple dollars, they decided to re-release all of the live action Spider-Man movies. So the Tobey Maguire movies, Andrew Garfield movies, and the Tom Holland movies. And starting from like April 15th through like June. God, I don't even know. Yeah, from like April to June, every Monday starting from like, it was the 15th, right? It's the 5th. Was it the 15th? Yeah, it was the 15th. They were released all of them for one night on Mondays, and I didn't know about it until like after it happened. Like the first Spider-Man was re-released, and then the second one was re-released, and then I saw Spider-Man 3 was being re-released, and I thought, oh my gosh, this could be a great opportunity because I don't know if I watched Spider-Man 3 in theaters as a kid. My memory is just, there's nothing there regarding that. And just the thought of watching Spider-Man 3, knowing how big of a meme movie it would become like well after its release with Bully Maguire and all of his iconic scenes and quotes. And just the thought of watching that on the big screen, it was so appealing that I decided to go for it. And I did. I bought a ticket online early because I took that one of the show times and it was like almost sold out. I was like, oh my God, I need to get on this now. And so I picked another show time, bought my ticket there, and then I waited till April 29th. I went to the theater and I saw it. There was a bunch of like hardcore fans with me. One guy was in all like black suit, like a Spider-Man black suit getup. So I knew I was in for something special. And we were all there in the theater. It was a packed theater, by the way. You wouldn't expect that for a re-release for a 17-year-old movie that was once like mocked by everyone for being like terrible. But those people in 2007, they didn't know the gold mine they experienced. They didn't know how good, how they just didn't get it. They really just didn't get it. So I watched it in theaters, and man, it was a ride. It was an experience. Just watching the audience just like laugh at all the goofy shit in the movie. Not even the Bully Maguire stuff. Not just that. It's just like several parts of the movie were just so stupid and just you just can't help but laugh because of it's just pure goofiness. And then when Bully Maguire showed up, everyone cheered. Everyone cheered when Peter changed his hair because everyone knew, well, a legend was born with that hair change. And then all the classic Bully Maguire lines, just witnessing them all on the big screen, knowing when they were going to happen. I laughed every time. I had a smile on my face during all those scenes. It was wonderful. It was the highlight of the whole month, if you ask me. It's probably one of my favorite, maybe one of my favorite movie theater experiences I've had in quite some time. I absolutely loved it. So yeah, that was my Spider-Man 3 experience. And they had like posters there where like the movie that you can like grab, and I grabbed one of them, and it was basically the Spider-Man 3 poster that was, the original from like 2007. Now the bottom was like, back on the big screen like April 29th. And I have that poster. I'm keeping that cuz it's cool. But yeah, April 29th, that was a great time for me. But the previous weekend is just whatever. So let's go through these. So Alien, the 45th anniversary re-release. Yes, Alien is that old. I predicted an opening weekend of like 1 million. I found total like 2 to 3 million because I know these re-releases, they're not there for the long run. They're there to basically be there for one weekend, and that's it. Yeah, so they're basically one weekend movies. And Alien opened with, let me find it, 1.5 million. I was like, okay, that's a little better than I expected. And I think it was only there for a week. Yeah, only a week, and then it was gone. So I think it made about 2 million or so. Yeah, well, 2.3 million. So it did hit my projections. And apparently, like, I thought this was just going to be just a re-release, kind of like what the Spider-Man movies are, where there's just the same movie just on the big screen again. But apparently, the Alien re-release was like the director's cut of it, so it wasn't just like just the original movie just thrown out there. It was like a different version of it, an enhanced version. So like, at least there was that. I didn't know that at first, so sorry I got that fact wrong. Um, and I know there was a reason why they released it the weekend it did, because it was like a bit of an Alien reference. I forgot what the reference was, but it was connected. I was like, okay, that's kind of clever. But part of me feels that this could have gone a little better if this re-release happened a bit closer to Alien Romulus, which is coming out in August. I don't know. That's just what I think. I feel like it may have it would have been more beneficial to do that, but they didn't. So still no telling if people are interested in more Alien movies. If they're interested in seeing the next Alien movie, we'll have to find out in August. I mean, I'm kind of interested in it, but I don't know about anybody else. I feel like maybe people have been burned too many times by the Alien movies, but we'll see. We'll see. But the Alien re-release, I say it went well for what it is. Expectations were never high to begin with, but it did all right. So next up we got Boy Kills World. I predicted an opening weekend of like, I think it was like 2 million. A final total of like 4 to 5 million. Oof, I did. Ugh. I flopped on that one. It opened with 1.6 million. This movie was like stupidly front loaded. Like it had a Thursday night preview of 500K, and I was thinking, oh, okay, this might do something. This might overperform. Nope. It had a brutally front loaded Friday. Not sure why that was. And it like a 40% drop the next day and 28% drop Sunday. But like literally half of its box office, about half. When okay, when half of your weekend comes from Friday, that's not good. And after that, it just cratered, fell 85% the next week, 97% the week after that. It's gone from theaters. It only made like 2.6 million. So Yeah, that's a big old yikes. And I thought maybe it could do a little better because when I was watching, I think it was WrestleMania, yeah, WrestleMania, 40 on Peacock. Well, the Peacock like I have has ads because like I could have bought like the Peacock without ads, but I just didn't feel like it. But like there were ads for this movie like playing like the whole time, and I thought, okay, they have some faith in this. Maybe people will care. They did not care, not one bit. So yeah, who knows? Maybe this could be a cult classic later on, but right now it's no one gave a shit about it. So let's move on to Challengers, the only movie that weekend that actually did something. um, this I predicted an opening weekend of like 15 million, a final total of like 35 to 45 million. It hit 15 million straight up, so got that right. And so far it's made 39 million. Its legs have been pretty decent. It's probably gonna hit like somewhere in like the mid 40s and be done. So I mean, I guess that's good-ish, even though the budget's like 55 million, so it's not that great. But apparently Amazon doesn't really care that much about that. It's mainly just they just want to like release it, and then once like it's done, just put it on Amazon Prime, prop it up. Oh, this is a big movie without like sacrificing box office dollars doing so, like what they did with like a Roadhouse, the Roadhouse remake. Um, where that was like that could have been a theatrical release, but they didn't just put it on streaming. Apparently, there's a whole bunch of legal shit going on with that. Um, but yeah, they're just like, no, we can't put this on Amazon. Not right away. We got Zendaya. Like this movie could have came out last September. It could have. It had trailers and everything, but because of the actor strike, they were like, well, Zendaya can't promote this movie. Well, might as well push it back because Zendaya, as you know, like she's big. She has a huge, enormous following. Like her, I believe her Instagram account, like her the amount of followers, you could make a whole damn country out of how many followers she has. It's crazy. So obviously, studios they see a lot of value in Zendaya and like her audience and her you know her following. So they're just like, well, we have to make sure she can promote this movie to our fans. That way, maybe we can make some money. I mean, that's partially why Dune Part Two had to be delayed to that got pushed out of 2023. So yeah, but unlike Dune Part Two, which is the biggest movie of the year so far, this just did meh. So and this was like Zendaya's first real test because like Dune, Spider Man, Greatest Showman, all those are ensemble movies. They're all none of them are reliant on her specifically, and some of them are just like franchise flicks. Established properties like Dune, Spider Man. This doesn't have that. This didn't have that advantage. So it's very much like her. Like, can she sell a movie? And the answer to that is kinda, but not really. I mean, it could have been worse, but it could have been better too. But it wasn't as big of an embarrassment as other movies that came out in April. So there's that. Um, but yeah, it's just kind of a meh performer. That's what I would describe it as, a meh performer, and that's it. And then we have the Mummy re-release. It's 25th anniversary re-release. I predicted an open weekend of like a million, final to like 2 to 3, I think. And it hit a million, and then it just died right afterwards. So it added about like less than 2 million to its total. So yeah, I wasn't expecting much out of this, really. Even though like the Mummy movies, like the first two in particular, people love those movies. You know, they're, as my thumbnail said, the audience favorites, particularly that first Mummy movie. Like people like really enjoy it, and partially because Brendan Fraser, people like Brendan Fraser, and especially like now, like during like his big comeback where he won his Oscar for The Whale. Like, people just like it. I like the Mummy. Well, not all of them. Mummy 3, no one likes Mummy 3. And then they rebooted it with Tom Cruise, and nobody liked that. So maybe, like, I don't know about a Mummy 4. Could they make a Mummy 4? Would people be that interested in it? Maybe. Just maybe. But I don't know. I don't know if Universal wants to risk it. Maybe they do. Who knows? But the Mummy re-release, it went okay for what it is. And then we got Unsung Hero. I predicted an opening weekend of like 8 million, and I found total like 20 to 30 million. I don't think it's gonna hit that. It opened like 7.7 million, so it didn't do as well. It had like a Thursday preview like this, but this was like very misleading because it was like, I don't know, it was like 1.2 like million. This actual total was like 400 something for previews, and its opening weekend was like hella front loaded as a result. As you can see here, it dropped 36% the next day, fell 61% the next week, which is awful. But it fell 15% this past weekend, mainly because of Mother's Day. It really popped off on Mother's Day, as you can see. Um, but yeah, I don't. It's not gonna reach 30 million. That's not a fucking hope. So yeah, and I thought maybe that faith-based crowd, maybe they might care for this, but they didn't. You never know what they care about, which makes predicting movies like this hella frustrating. Because sometimes you think, maybe they'll show up, and then they don't. Sometimes you think, oh, they're not going to show up, and then they do. Like, it's so inconsistent. I hate it. I really do. But yeah, so that was April. Very boring month. There was like barely any excitement going on in the month of April. And like, if Godzilla X Kong opened in April like it was supposed to, I mean, it would have helped a little bit. It would have been a lot more exciting. But I thought April was just doomed in general because, I mean, obviously last year we had the Mario movie just destroy everything, and obviously no one could have predicted how big that movie would be. So 2024 was doomed. It was at an extreme disadvantage, and Hollywood and the studios, they made no effort to try to prop buff April with a big movie. They just didn't care. They saw April as a write off, and that's what happened. But now we're in the month of May, and so far it's been a very mixed bag because Fall Guy, which I thought would be a hit, was a huge flop opening weekend. Um, but then Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes exceeded my expectations. Opening weekend, opened with 58 million. I'm like, okay, so mixed bag, real mixed bag. I don't know about if I I'm not too confident in that, but it could surprise at the box office. I don't know. And Furiosa, oof, I'm not super confident in that movie either with its performance. I know it'll be a good movie, but money wise, I don't really see it being a huge hit. The only safe bet here is Garfield, and that's because it opened overseas early and it's done quite all right there. That's the only safe bet out of all these movies in May. But yeah, May so far has been real and I imagine it's just gonna keep on. I feel like just things being that's gonna be a running theme like the whole summer until Deadpool and Wolverine comes out, I imagine. So that's not gonna be fun, but that's just what we got to deal with. So yeah, so that's it. That's all. Make sure to subscribe, like this video, leave a comment, turn on notifications, share the whole drill. Want to check out more videos like this? I got playlists on the homepage, all previous recap videos I made on the channel. You want to watch any of the ones I've done this year or the past few years, go right ahead. It's also box office predictions, where I predict box office for movies. Every movie here that I talked about, like in some detail, like every highlighted movie here, well, not all of them, but the ones I've talked about, I made prediction videos for them. So if you want to watch any of those videos, go right ahead. Let me tell you, making all those videos, those weekends, that was miserable. Fucking miserable. 5, 6 movies. I hate that shit. It should be like 3 max, not no 6. Like that is overkill. And it was just absolutely miserable. But if you want to watch those videos, you can go right ahead. And there's also yeah, what else is there? The canceled series. Well, actually, for predictions, I will be doing Back to Black, If, and The Strangers Chapter One. So stay tuned for those as well. There's also the canceled series where I go over all the movies that were supposed to come out but didn't. I did a cancel episode yesterday, or technically today, about Mortal Kombat 2 and Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow getting release dates and some other Warner Brothers movies that nobody cares about. Did a cancel episode about that. That was episode 246. I got 4 more before I say goodbye to that series and I retire it. Okay. But yeah, so I made that video. So there's 246 episodes for you to watch. So if you want to watch any of those videos, you want to binge them all from beginning to now, I highly encourage you to do that. So go do it. And yeah, that's it. That's all. I am out. Goodbye.